Hello, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to a Beyond the Summit presentation of the Starlighter I-League 13 Chinese qualifier. Here we've got Game 2 of a two-game series between BraveHeart and Team Duobao. First game going to BraveHeart after a pretty good overall victory. I mean, they knew what they wanted to do with the laning phase. It was kind of the team fights that got a little bit messy, but they were able to get control of that Wind Ranger pretty effectively, and they were able to bring her down, despite her pretty good timing on her overall item build. Anyways, we're going to be hopping into the draft. It was a very quick start to close out a very long night of Chinese Dota 2. And thanks once again for tuning in. I'm Blaze, and looking at the draft here, we've got Tusk Dazzle as the opener here, as BraveHeart first pick the Tusk, and Duobao pick up their Slaughter Shadow Fiend. Comparing this to the Slaughter Wind Ranger, kind of difficult. Obviously, on the Radiant side, Shadow Fiend has more strength in the ability to take advantage of the jungle. So I would say, yeah, on Dire's side, you want the Wind Ranger with the Slaughter, and on Radiant side, you probably prefer the SF for his farming capabilities. That being said, you're picking it into a Tusk, and that makes you very vulnerable, I would say. Just in general, Tusk is great for finding opportunities to pick the Shadow Fiend on mid, and you're going to have to make sure that you put somebody behind that SF to keep him safe. And of course, Team BraveHeart, knowing that, will be banning out the Earthshaker in Phase 2, and the Dazzle is already picked up, so it's really, really tough. I mean, you can go for an Abaddon, maybe. You could go and pick up... I had a hero in mind, and now it just flew out of my brain, so... Lich is actually not too bad in this case. You're always keeping your wave close to the tower. You force them to tower dive every time, but other than a little bit of ice armor, he might not be able to keep you alive. You know, you have your old school pickups, the Tree and Protector, but otherwise it's just really hard. I think Tusk is going to start really running over this game unless Duobao start drafting very well around it. We're going to see BraveHeart ban out the Gyrocopter next, so it still seems like they're a bit afraid of the 5-on-5 team fight, as well as a hero that can really take advantage of all that negative armor. But we're not going to really see that. Ember Spirit isn't really a negative armor hero. He's just strong overall, but the cleave is enhanced damage, so no matter what your armor value is, he's doing similar amounts of damage. The Sleight of Fist does do single target physical damage, but that's not the main aspect of the hero in the way that he's played. He goes for the Battle Fury in a way to maximize his damage output when heroes are clumped. And of course, Tusk does tend to do that if you go for the 2 or 3 man snowball. Level 1 Tusk movements here from BraveHeart could be pretty strong. Just finding opportunities to move in aggressively, and you get a snowball or a spike, you'll probably find First Blood. First Blood will equal at least 1 bounty rune, if not 2. And you can see a lot of momentum swinging forward for BraveHeart. And maybe BraveHeart look to contest the Shadow Fiend's jungle this time. One thing that we saw from BraveHeart that really set momentum for 86 Shadow Fiend is that he got like a triple or a quad stack on both hard camps and a double or a triple on his easy camp. Or his medium camp, sorry. So the way I look at it is essentially if you have a Tusk, you have that level 1 opener that's very strong, has great potential for engaging directly, great chain of disables, just great kill potential. I'd say press that, go for more level 1 heroes, and start just warding the crap out of the Shadow Fiend's jungle. Stop the stacks, stop the pulls, stop anything that'll give you grief, and you'll be able to really just inhibit the economy sufficiently to bring this game back, bring this match to a 2-0 for you. So that's, I would say, a lot of potential for that, but Darkseer and Undying did get banned out earlier, so... I'm kind of surprised that they wanted to ban out the Darkseer if they're picking the Ember Spirit. I guess you can't really reliably pick both up, but... I don't know. I think that there's a lot of potential in those heroes altogether. I guess they did have the Slaughter for the offlane, though, didn't they? So, it's tough. It definitely makes sense to ban out offlaners when the Slaughter can pretty much handle himself from what we've seen. But a little bit more pressure, and maybe that's not the case anymore. I mean, we've seen some good combos with certain heroes. Dazzle and Lion, add in a hero that, like a Phantom Lancer, that just gets all right on top of an enemy and you heal bomb them, you got yourself a kill. You're not going to see PL here as he's really trash against Ember mid to late game, but I'm just mentioning that there are some vulnerabilities in that Slaughter off lane, and they might be able to punish it. For now, though, the Rubik's going to be coming out. It looks like they want to have an answer to the Tusk. If the Rubik stays back, you can telekinesis and pull him away from an aggressive position or pull him under tower to get him killed that way. But all in all, I'm not sure if this is the right game for Rubik. I feel like there's a lot of vulnerability here, where he could just get picked off. He could just be the punching bag. That starts him off with like a 0-6 game before he really starts accomplishing much in the fights. But, you know, there's a lot of punching bags here. Shadow Fiend, Ember, and Rubik are all heroes that you'll often see teams go aggressive on, that they'll try to put pressure out on early. So you get enough greedy heroes, enough heroes that kind of can be summed up as glass cannons, then yeah, you can still get some good value by kind of forcing your enemy to try to keep plugging holes in a leaking ship. We're going to see the Lich ban out here. Like I said, it's one of the heroes that can keep SF safe in the mid lane. But Juggernaut also got taken off the table. So Braveheart, if they're looking for their safe laner, aren't going to have that hero at their disposal. And I would say he's actually probably one of the stronger picks here. Slark, decent. He obviously can be crushed. He can be hit by the secondary telekinesis, and he can lose half of his attack damage to that Requiem. So he has to watch out for those, but otherwise not a bad pick. Huskar, is that an option here? No, too much physical negative armor, just with the presence of the Dark Lord and the amp damage. I'm just thinking of all these like 5th pocket picks, you know? 5th pick is always really strong for the team that started with 1st pick, because they can surprise you with something you didn't expect at all. A Meepo or something, you know? But in this case here, you got your Ember Cleave. Nah, I think they're just going to go for something more traditional. Duobao, though. Last 25 seconds of their reserve time there, looking for their other support. One to keep their allies alive, and they actually go with Skywrath. I mean, great kill combo against the Queen of Pain. Silencing the Dazzle is huge. But another very squishy hero. These are all glass cannons. Other than Slardar, none of these guys have an effective HP more than like 600. They can get just torn apart. One good Sonic Wave and dead. One good Walrus Punch, for crying out loud. I'm really worried that Duobao are just going to fall flat on their face. They're either going to have a really good game with lots of potential, some amazing spells they can sling at their enemies, or they're going to fall flat, and this is going to be a 20-minute win while Braveheart just stomp them with massive damage. They just pick squishy hero after squishy hero, very vulnerable, but if they can gain some momentum in the laning phase, then they can do a lot of work. The Slaughter can't have a bad game, though. The Slaughter Blink has to come out at a really good time. Otherwise, you're in for some trouble if you're a Duobao supporter. Meng gonna go for the Slaughter once again. ZZZ on the Rubik. We'll see how it works out. I think there's some really good potential. If everything works the way Duobao wants it to, if their fights are pretty much just crystal clear in terms of movement and momentum, I would have to say that they have a pretty good shot at this, but there's an equal chance that they'll just get stomped. A little bit of momentum will turn into a massive amount as Braveheart start to get some stuff going for them. YYM gonna go for a scout out here. I don't feel like the Dire safe lane TP is as important as the Radiant one to block out wards here, but just gonna go ahead and put the ward down here. The important thing to know about this ward is it does block out this camp. So you're not only getting some good lane vision, but you're making sure that the Slaughter can't pull this position. I talked about it earlier where like the Slaughter wouldn't want to go for that kind of position because I think it was a Disruptor that just puts him in too much danger when he goes for that with the Glimpse. But in this case, a Dazzle has less potential to zone that hard, and often the Lion will be found elsewhere. So it's important to make sure that you just keep that ideal shut down, and it's unlikely that Meng will be able to deward it.
30 seconds.
Last time they tried to deward the lane, so I think they're probably gonna suspect something similar. Maybe even just going for the standard observer there. Anyways, Radiant will actually just go ahead and put a very simple ward to see the high ground on the enemy side, and that'll just help out the Shadow Fiend in general. So very, very basic warding going on. Nothing really upsetting the balance in terms of pull camps or anything like that.
Begins.
86 on the Queen of Pain, grabbing the Bounty Rune bottom. The Shadow Fiend Necromasteried up. Will be getting his healing salve with his Bounty Rune claimed top. So leaves Dog 7, Tusk, currently duo bottom with the Dazzle. If you snowball on a target, of course, then you have a good heal bomb. Or even ice sharding somebody into the creep wave could be really strong for the heal bombs. For now, though, they're just going to pull the wave back. They get the block so that the melee creeps go first, or second, as the range creep pulls ahead. Then they go ahead and ice shard block, similar to how Clockwork does it, to get the creep equilibrium perfectly in their favor. We're going to see a lot of damage go into the Skywrath Mage, so we'll turn our attention there a little bit. But a big deal is, of course, going to be how this creep equilibrium shifts. Dog 7 releasing the creeps, and it's going to be not necessarily a double wave, but like a wave and a half all at once. And that is going to start pushing, for better or for worse. Obviously, it's better for Dazzle, because the Shadow Wave is really strong, and the Ember Spirit has low armor. Only 1 armor right now. So if he goes in for a heavy CS, oh, Rubik about to take a huge bot shot, but he dodges most of it. Only gets hit by 2, I believe. Anyways, Skywrath has to rotate down bottom. He would have loved to stick around and give SF a little bit more in terms of souls, but just can't afford to. And now 86 is actually going to be delivering some good damage here to the SF directly. And the SF will just have to play it safe. So the Ember Spirit right now 1 and 0, but has like 5 different creep waves he could go on. Some good Arcane Bolt harassment coming on to the Dazzle, but there's going to be that Shadow Wave I was talking about, and kaboom! Down he goes. Ice Shard and Snowball. And that's just a very clean pickup. I think the Ice Shards didn't materialize thanks to Perfect World's Dota TV lag issue, but, you know, he cast them. In the meantime, just catching the tail end of that, Queen of Pain getting ambitious with her Shadow Strikes when she's on low HP. Probably sitting at like, missing like 300 HP instead of 400. It didn't feel like going for the healing salve until after that exchange. But obviously the salve necessary there as she gets cleaned up by the double raise. Mang, is out of mana for the crush. They will chain up their stuns a little bit, so he'll be okay, but he's going to have to back off in clarity if he wants to really get involved in this lane again. Nice little mana drain trick there. Just, I mean, free Earth Spikes, essentially, is what you can examine. I don't think they go for the Mango Blast, though. So, you can see how different Shure and Dog 7 are playing when they don't have a creep wave. When they have a big creep wave, they're all right up in there, and they're fine in their kill momentum. But, Mang, dropping low. They did end up Earth Spiking him, but now they have the creep wave again, and you see him going right forward. Not going to go for the snowball, but ZZZ in range for a triple wave if Shure took it. But for now, it's just going to be a 2 versus 3 that's kind of winning, at least marginally. Right now, last hits go in favor of Ember, 11 and 3, while Tusk only has 8 and 0. But you also killed off the Ember Spirit once, so overall, I don't think the Ember Spirit's very comfortable here. In the meantime, though, SF winning out against the Queen of Pain is a huge deal, as now he's got that level advantage significantly. Level 5 Shadow Fiend does a lot of work with a regen rune. The Queen of Pain's just going to be taking up so much damage. Ember Spirit's going to be getting inside the snowball, the Shadow Wave, and the right clicks. And they get that kill. So the Rubik goes and grabs himself a Bounty Rune, and the Dire Ward just scouts out his movements so they can go in 2v2. Great timing coming in from the Dazzle and the Tusk. Already seeing some strong things in motion. We're going to see the Wraith King playing here in the safe lane, just farming up 18 and 5. Queen of Pain only 11 and 7, and in fact, dropping so low. I would have felt bad if I missed that kill, but even still, just a lot of raises going against him, and he's not even level 5 yet. It's just a really hard position for the Queen of Pain. And he's going to have to sit and get a TP given to him by a support. Thank you, Shure. And he'll go ahead and make his way back to the mid lane with that bottle. So, just kind of still paying for his aggression earlier, and actually going to be a nice sleight of fist. I think that dodged the Shadow Wave, and now Dog 7's in some real trouble underneath the Flame Guard. He'll do some hits, he'll get the Magic Stick and the Shallow Grave, and they might be able to get him out, at least turning it 1-for-1. One more hit on the Ember Spirit and he'll go down. Yes, the Tusk will fall, but again the Ember Spirit falls first. And that is just massive. Sure, Rubik, you'll get your boots, you'll get your tangos in your ward, but Ember Spirit dying for the 3rd time in this laning phase. Just really, it seems like he doesn't know how to play around the Dazzle. Now we're seeing Wraith Fire Blast starting off. They're going to get the Earth Spike as well, following it up with a Hex to try to finish the job. But they don't have any mana on the Wraith King, and there's going to be a Crush to get him away. One more hit's not going to do it. So Slaughter will limp away with just 1 hit from death. Shadow Fiend doing Shadow Fiend things. He hasn't gotten any stacks from his allies. That's one other big aspect of the defensive tri-lane, is they're not supporting the SF. Luckily, he doesn't really need it, but if, let's say, for example, the Queen of Pain, 86, was punishing the SF the way the matchup normally goes, and the bottom lane was going as atrociously as it was, that would just be a snowball victory. But because SF is manhandling this lane quite efficiently, it could be anybody's game. It really comes down to rotations and the next big skirmish beyond just a few heroes here and there. 10 sticks charges on Dazzle. Oh, what's this? Just a double rune play. But yeah, it's illusion rune, nothing special. But yeah, very little pulling happening from the Radiant here. The support's overall underleveled. You see these 3 are by far the lowest experience per minute, next to the Lion, who seems to be avoiding leeching the lane at all costs so that Lulu gets his early 6. But yeah, just overall, the Tusk and the Dazzle significantly out-leveling the trio down bottom. The Ember Spirit still 4th in last hits, actually behind the Queen of Pain and the Wraith King now. Tusk doesn't have much to brag about, but he's still doing better than the Slardar. And I would say overall BraveHeart have won both bottom and top lanes. Another Shadow Wave coming through, that one will connect, though only doing so much damage. And I think the next timing window where there's a lot more offensive potential is when that Tusk Walrus Punch comes out. Oh, YYIM moving on in. Gonna be able to get that Hex here with that Shadow Strike. That's gonna be the Earth Spike, Scream, and Sonic Wave for the kill. Very nicely done. Almost getting a trade out on that, but there's too slow of reinforcements, and maybe the Skywrath gets it. One more Arcane Bolt, and there's no blink. No. I think he TP'd! Oh my gosh, you could have TP'd! Oh man, as soon as he saw that Skywrath, because he should have seen Rubik down bottom. If he saw Skywrath, the second he got hit by those spells, he could have TP'd. He definitely had 3 seconds there. Oh well. Still gets the kill on the Shadow Fiend, which is the important thing, but doesn't get it clean. Tranquil Boots on a Lion with a mana drain. Pretty much unlimited sustainability if you're patient enough. But in the meantime, he's looking for that key level 6. A lot of heroes are here. Well, I think Tusk will probably pick it up first. Then the Lion. The Skywrath Mage with that solo kill on the Quab actually already has it. If he only had the mana to support it. Needs just probably 2 more last hits, and that will be his Arcane Boots. Oh, dive down bottom. Dog 7 just trying to go onto the Rubik instead. Now he's been converged upon. This is going to be a 4v2, and Ember Spirit's got the flank. It's only a level 1 Searing Chains, but that might be enough to hold him. Tusk, double damager, and tries to punch down. The Ember Spirit only needs 1 more punch after this, and yes, he'll get it! Or at least set up the Dazzle to get it. No, the magic one. And sure, probably... No, he can't TP away, thanks to the telekinesis. So, close. But, you know, when 4 heroes are running after you and you're caught out like that, probably the best thing you can do is just try to get that one extra pick. And they almost got it too. Really punishing this Ember Spirit in the safe lane. Squishy, squishy heroes, guys. And that Sonic Wave coming off cooldown shortly will really exemplify that. I mean, you're going to have a burst combo, a substantial one. I would say you're almost looking at 600 damage there between the Scream and the Sonic Wave. The math is a little fuzzy. It's like 575 or something. Anywho, that's a lot of damage against some lower HP heroes here. Bracer up for Ember Spirit at least, but still Skywrath Mage pretty much running his base health. Gonna go for the snowball play here onto the Ember Spirit. Still not level 6, still taking a lot of damage, but with the Treads Bracer, this super tank build, that's the play, okay? So we just take one of the squishiest early game heroes, and we just build all the tank items on him. That's the plan. So, expect I have Scotty, Harder Trask, and BKB to be his next items. No, just he's having a rough time. He's pretty slow in his overall momentum, and he's obviously taken a lot of hits, so he just is trying to weather the storm and get to a point in the game where he can survive. BOTs is not the item this game. You just get crushed too often, too easily. A6 will be caught here. It's going to be the Mystic Flare doing a decent amount of damage, and despite the Invis Rune, he'll just be raised down. They had the Sentry Ward, and of course that aids in the kill as well. But meanwhile, there is a dive down bottom, and that Walrus Punch trying to set up the kill. Sleight of Fist, though, making it harder and harder to bring this Ember Spirit down. And despite the Ice Shards, it looks like he's going to live, and Dog 7, on the contrary, will fall to this Arcane Bolt. Dazzle did get the TP away, but still some good kill momentum going the way of Duobao. And in particular, that Shadow Fiend getting so many kills. 3, 1, and 2 on the Shadow Fiend, who has 80 CS. And even without the stacks, he's practically got himself a Shadow Blade. Which, if you have the mana to sustain it, is a great item to just start killing, one-shotting people, essentially, with your big Requiem. So, we'll see if he can surprise somebody with a TP play and that Shadow Blade catching somebody off guard. And you can use things like Searing Chains to lock them in place, Telekinesis, Crush. Any of these spells would be enough to guarantee that somebody's in position long enough to get the full value out of that Requiem. Ancient Seal on top of that, I don't even want to see how much potential damage that is. That might even just one-shot the Wraith King if you get a maxed Ancient Seal on that. 45% increased magic damage received. Scary stuff. And they had the amp damage. They know the Wraith King's farming there, and they know he has that Midas. They want to start taking advantage of the second highest here on the map, and yeah, they find him out. Catch him, catch him, catch him, and just right-click him down. The first one. First time he goes down, they'll crush him. Now they'll Mystic Flare him, and the Shallow Grave will just delay it here, unless a lot of TPs are coming in. Lulu jumps to the Arcane Bolt after the Requiem does its damage. A nice crush coming in from Mang again, killing off the Tusk despite a great snowball. But now we have the Finger and the Sonic Wave. Huge damage combo, and Shadow Blade might not be enough. He's going to try to bottle in the tree line. He will be able to TP away despite the damage over time effect. Oh, that's actually huge. So, yeah, the Shadow Fiend actually lives, in spite of all that. Really lucky with the Shadow Blade cooldown coming up just in time. And fight recap. Worth noting that they killed the Wraith King twice, so they got a 260-second cooldown, a cooldown of 160, and a cooldown of 135. All 3 of those, while also getting 2 legit kills for 1. Very, very nicely done. Now it's going to be harder and harder for BraveHeart to farm safely because this Shadow Blade on the SF. Every time he goes missing, you've got to be wondering, are you close enough to a tower, close enough to a Sentry Ward to know that there's not a SF charging up a full Requiem right on top of you? So it's going to start taxing the supports. You're going to see Sure just start funneling all of his gold into Observers and Sentries, so that the Tusk can focus on his mechanism. And that's overall going to make Dazzle a prime kill target, as he can't get anything more than this current inventory in terms of tank items. A lot of Invis here too, with the Invis Rune for the Ember Spirit. This is at least the second Invis Rune. in the past few minutes, and on top of the Shadow Blade, we're seeing detection become really important in this matchup. As Shadow Fiend now with full mana, with the Requiem back up, is ready to just find a new target. Lulu's actually not as strong as he'd like to be here. Not without that Reincarnate to back him up. So what they're trying to do right now is create space for Ember Spirit. If they keep fighting up top, an Ember Spirit can keep farming down bottom, but on the contrary, he's actually going to fight up top to set up the Searing Chains. Blink Crush, Searing Chains, and now they've got multiple heroes they can kill off. They're going to go slow him down, big right clicks, big raises, and Lulu getting craved at the last second. That'll cost the Dazzle his life. The TB is not going to succeed thanks to Meng's Crush, and that's going to be a 3-0. Duobao really just hitting their stride, finding a lot of momentum in this Shadow Fiend and finding so much kill potential as he's just always in the right position. Until you get a mechanism on Dog 7, it's actually Braveheart or the ones that are getting killed off too quickly. And while I talked about in the draft as calling them glass cannons, there's a negative and a positive connotation to that, because yeah, they're glass, but hell yeah, they are cannons. This Shadow Fiend does so much burst damage, and you just can't stand up to him, really. If Dazzle steals Shallow Grave or Shadow Wave, then suddenly everybody becomes pretty tanky.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
4 Sentry Wards, that's what I'm talking about. I knew that was what... I've played this situation too many times to not expect exactly what is going on with Sure. Sentry Ward here, Sentry Ward there, Sentry Ward here, Sentry Ward there. You just have to paper the map with detection if you're ever gonna feel safe with your cores farming. I mean, if you don't feel safe in this box, you're in some trouble, and that's exactly the problem. Now they're gonna get 2-man crush from Meng. Oh, that was immaculate. They didn't even have vision. They come around the side, they had the smoke, and they knew that probably somebody was farming here, but no, he perfectly finds the instant 2-man crush, and they just go to town on towers. Probably taking 2 here. Definitely the tier 1. Sonic Wave, level 1. I think you can maybe force the second, with the Queen of Pain only at 10. But Meng seems to want to rotate to defend their bottom lane, and Duobao's Ember Spirit looks to just go for a quick chance. Instead, they take the Sigil, and we actually have YYIM. Along with the Queen of Pain, they can just, 2-spell combo somebody. It looks like the Ember Spirit's their choice, but they have to start with 1 stun, and in the meantime, they are losing their mid-tier 2. This is awkward. They've rotated these heroes bottom, they're not finding their opening on the Ember, and they just lost the mid-tier 2 to the SF. Now, there is a Sentry Ward, another Sentry Ward, but sure, we'll see it in time to Grave, but that doesn't mean he's out of danger just yet. Reincarnate comes out from the Wraith King as the Dazzle falls on the back line, and everybody's involved in this skirmish here. Quick kill on the Skywrath Mage, but the Ember and the Slaughter clean house, setting up a dominating streak for an otherwise underfarmed Ember Spirit. And the SF just pops a Zoning Requiem to force everybody back. We actually see Lion dropping down quickly. Despite the mechanism, he has no chance. And that's just a lot of big kills coming out very quickly. So now they take the tier 3. They say, okay, well, you want to fight us, you'll fight outside your base, and if you do, you're not only losing heroes, but you're about to lose the high ground. Now they don't have Requiem to back up, but they're very confident with Meng's potential to Blink Crush. Meng has had a really good Slaughter game this game. It's preface that as well. Meng did not have the best Slaughter game I've ever seen in game number 1, but he's right up there here in this second game. Doing a lot of work and just creating so many opportunities. It's actually 3 towers that go down without losing 1. The tier 1 tower still stands bottom, and they took all 3 towers in mid lane. As well as many, many lives today. So suddenly, that's a Manta style for Shadow Fiend. At this point, he can go whatever the hell he wants. He has just so much net worth and advantage. Well, this Wraith King is just constantly playing catch-up with this Midas. And Orchid, that's not going to do enough. Not against the Manta of the SF. And most likely a Battle Fury Manta coming out about the time that the Orchid is completed. Everybody's going to be able to mitigate the effects of that. It's unfortunate, but it's just how it is.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
This Queen of Pain just lost so much momentum with that one trade. And I think that's been the story of today a little bit. I feel like that's one of the strengths and the weaknesses of these kind of tier 2 teams of any region, really, is they're always, especially the mid laners, are always looking for that next level play. They think that they can just do this and this and this, and suddenly they can outplay their opponents and they can be in the spotlight. And they can start building up their reputation towards a tier 1 team. But in reality, you end up looking pretty foolish when a Viper dies to a Bounty Hunter just to right clicks. And, oh, nice little pick off here on the Skywrath Mage. But, like, and the Queen of Pain dies to the SF, maybe to, like, an uphill miss or something. Like, just one death and you're half a level behind, and momentum just starts shifting further and further away from you. I should see a Sentry Ward here, but that doesn't seem to matter. No uphill miss. Shadow Fiend will eat a lot of damage from this finger, but it's not enough to kill him, and he stands strong with the long-range raise. Can just maybe drop Manta Illusions? Oh no, 86. Manta Dodge! No! The Sonic Wave finishes it. Still, I think he Manta Dodged the Scream there. That is very possible. It's an invulnerability frame, and the Scream, it pursues like a fan of knives. So I believe that actually worked. Not, I guess I could just check the combat log, but there's people in the base, so I'm not allowed to. Wraith King gonna find the stun. No! The animation cancel from the Searing Chains of the Ember Spirit. Says Rubik, don't worry, I've got your back. So I do get to really quickly check out the Shadow Fiend's last moments. So, Shadow Fiend got hit by the Sonic Wave, the Illusions got hit by the Sonic Wave, but he did not get hit by the Scream. So that Manta dodge actually dodged the Scream of Pain. It targets, the spell is based on Fan of Knives from Warcraft 3. So essentially what that means is, just like the Bristleback Quill Spray and Tinker's Rockets, it'll, as soon as the spell is cast, it locks on to targets in range, valid targets in range. But using the invulnerability frame of the Manta style, you can definitely render yourself immune for that short time frame, and he actually would have lived if not for the Sonic Wave on top, which, now Dag is pretty big. Lulu taking a lot of hits here, he has the Reincarnate, gonna use it very quickly, but they're not really gaining traction in the fight. The Ice Shards separates everything, they don't lift him back over it, but they actually get snowballed into it, and that is gonna be some damage going the other way, but still, the Grave only is shallow enough to last for 5 seconds. In the end, the Wraith King, the Tusk, and the Queen of Pain fall, and it looks like Lion will fall too. With everybody floating above 500 HP, nobody even got close to dying there from Duobao, and that was probably the best fight opportunity from BHeart so far. Obviously, sans ultimates. Now it's going to be the easy Roche, and barring an Invis Rune Snatch that could just blow my mind. Could he actually do it? I am so hyped for this. Come on, sure. You got this. You got this, Aegis Snatch. Grab the Aegis. Yeah, the Dazzle gets it. He graves. He may die twice, but he got himself immortality. Or at least a breath of it. Oh, man. That's wild. That's really fun. And they even lock him in the pit. Just knowing the hell out of them for 7 seconds. At least 3 of them. Now, you know, it's a moral victory at this point. You can't take much else out of that, but taking the Aegis away definitely inhibits Duobao's ability to close out the game. Although they are still 12,000 net worth ahead and experience, and BHeart are unable to really change that fact. Taking away the Aegis definitely means something. Yeah. It's actually another. I know I go into detail about these little things a lot, but the fact that Dazzle stood here instead of here makes, until the killing blow was struck, is a big difference, because the slam targeting on Roshan essentially waits till there's 3 heroes in range, visible or invisible, to trigger slam. And since there was no slam, only 2 heroes were in range. But right when the Dazzle walked in to grab the Aegis, that's when Roshan slammed. And luckily that was just within the last second. And it's human reflexes and comprehension don't go that quick to realize the truth of that situation. So, Dazzle with the place. Really smartly done from sure. Oh, down bottom, Ember Spirit gonna get caught a little bit, but they didn't go for the Orchid, and they don't know what's lurking in the shadows. In fact, Ember Spirit's the one being aggressive with 2 heroes behind him. And a Glimmering Slardar. Middle lane, YYIM, pretty much dead. He has a Hex here, but jeez. 2 hits and his HP is kind of gone. Shallow Grave will help him out a little bit, but I think the Urn's got him. Now there is a Shadow Wave to heal him, and the Arcane Bolt will do the dirty job. Do the dirty deed. Alliteration, people. Anyways, we got the pick off on the Dazzle here, and we might be coming to a close. Some victory,
Radiant's
Requiem
bottom tower is under attack.
charges. Getting it ready to unleash at the full-on GG, I believe, but
Dire's middle
we have
barracks
the
are
glyph
under
available for the Dire.
Radiant's bottom tower
There is no
is
backdoor
under
protection,
attack.
and therefore,
Dire's
their
structures
moments are
fortified.
numbered here. We'll look over at buybacks. Only the Tusk, no surprise, has enough money to actually come back a second time here. And this is tough. It's a really tough position. Kale, so players are lagging too, but probably for a different reason than a connection through the firewall, since they're on the right side of it. CSF cleaning up the range racks here, but now the melee is the real question. Rubik hasn't really stolen much of anything, I gotta say, this game. Rubik has not been the most impactful of heroes here. He's done his duty. He's gotten some decent stuns out, glimmered people. But I wouldn't say he's been nearly as defining as the Skywrath mage. But now he's going to go ahead and steal up the Ice Shards, and that could be problematic. Searing Chains on Lulu here. He's actually going to go down, popping the Reincarnation. 86 looking for... Oh, there's a man to dodge on that Wraith Fire Blast. A lot easier to do than a Scream, but still, got to call it out. This Shadow Fiend is playing really well right now. But now they're going for the Blink Crush on YYIM, trying to burst him down. Yes, before the Grave comes through. Sure, has a max Grave. It's only 15-second cooldown, but that's no good if you don't get the chance to use it. Melee Rex going down quick. Nice Searing Chains on 86. He will be graved. He got the Sonic Wave off, but that doesn't change his fate here. Blinking, not an option as he falls, and Lulu caught out once again. This is the Wraith King going down for the count, and that's the GG. Really frustrating game it seems for Braveheart, as they had a lot going for them in this draft, but they just couldn't execute the way they needed to, and Duobao found openings all over the place. But I really feel, at the end of the day, a lot of this comes down to what happened in mid lane. Shadow Fiend beat Queen of Pain, a matchup that SF definitely can win, but generally shouldn't stomp the way he did. Just skewed everything. And I'm not sure how Braveheart should react to that. Should they rotate the Lion away from the Wraith King and leave the Slardar to get an earlier blink just to stabilize the lane for the Queen of Pain? I'm not too sure, but I feel like they need to do something, because leaving the Queen of Pain in that matchup up against the SF when she'd already fed a kill and she just straight up couldn't contest him. She was level 4 when he was level 5 and 6. She got sent back to base, barely got her bottle. It was just absolutely disastrous for the co-op. And the SF, in the meantime, farming jungle, taking every rune, just doing what mid laners do. He just took advantage of one mistake from the Queen of Pain, and a lot of it built up from there, with the Shadow Blade making the supports really poor, and just overall good movement from Team Duobao. Also really proud of the Ember Spirit that he was able to really make up for his early deaths there. He was 0-3 or 1-3, and he got Treads Bracer. Value Bracer, value Treads, got the durability he needed to survive the combos he was facing, and eventually was able to actually find kill momentum as he made rotations offensively. So overall, great play from Duobao, and yeah, that is actually going to be concluding our best of 2 with another 1-1 draw. So both teams getting 1 point here in this group, and looking forward to seeing what these qualifiers offer us here in Star Ladder I-League China, number 13. So that's going to be wrapping up the broadcast for us tonight. It is 7 a.m. It is time for me to go to sleep for a long, long time, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the near future. I believe Cyclops is taking over tomorrow night. I'll talk to him about schedules and figure that stuff out. But overall, a great evening of Dota 2. And of course, Frankfurt's right around the corner too. Not in terms of geography, but you know what I mean. Anyways, once again, this is Blaze. If you enjoyed the commentary, look me up at BlazeCasting. I'm going to catch some Z's. You guys have a great night.